Next, I'm Mike McHugh. What's your name?
Richard Clark.
Richard Clark. What the heck are we doing here today?
Yeah, we really didn't have a plan. Not that it works out most of the time anyway.
Trying to do something fun.
Is anybody here on TikTok? Because boy, that's some addicting stuff. Like, that's how not to do it. But anyway, I don't understand TikTok.
That's annoying. That song's annoying.
Yeah, it's not my thing.
But it's like a moth to a flame, though.
Yeah,
I love the animal ones.
Yeah,
oh,
they're great.
I can't say we were watching those this morning, but I do like the animal ones. The horses and the cats and the dogs.
They're fantastic.
They're terrific.
And it seems like people put a lot of thought in some of these.
Yeah, they do. I like the one. There's one with a little lab puppy. Reminds me of my Casey. And it pops up from the foot of the bed, and it's that child's voice.
Yeah.
Morning, morning.
See what I mean?
That's funny. But and I bet you that's got like 12 million page views. It's a little puppy jumping up in a bed.
It's amazing how well that stuff does.
I was way ahead of myself. I was going through. I told you I hoed out, and that's not the right word to use, but I hoed out my office at home, and I had old paperworks and just stacks of 4x6 photographs, color photographs. And it was of my first dog I got in college. In 1982, I got Sheila, the golden retriever. She was 8 weeks old.
Wow.
And this sounds weird, and it was. It was all done in good taste. I dressed her up as a pup. Did you ever put
Oh yeah. Daisy had a Dallas Cowboys jersey.
Oh yeah. So you put in and she would do anything for me. I could put sunglasses on her and hats. And I mean that's what this is.
Yeah.
Except now it's in video form.
Now they video it.
And I was doing hold that Sheila, and I was with a 110 Instamatic camera.
Probably a Polaroid.
Developing it. Yeah. But just great shots. And then when we got Monty the Labradoodle, he would pose for anything. And I had to bring it in and show you. There was a Ralph Lauren full page ad in like the Wall Street Journal of this dog in this polo shirt, and I put Monty in the same shirt.
Oh wow!
And I put the ad next to her and him like that, and I mean he could do so much stuff. But that's what this stuff is. Instagram and TikTok especially.
Well, it actually reminds me we're having a contest on at Carteret News-Times with pet shaming. I guess is the best way to put it. I haven't done that to mine, but
I had the cone of shame. I mean, Casey when she got fixed, she had the cone of shame on.
I could probably do one of my cats because he likes to tear stuff up. So could probably shame him.
It's funny when Casey, she's an 8.
Monty used to like to dress up.
Monty loved dressing
up.
Yeah. Casey has no part of it. She doesn't want to do that. She's her own dog. She's 7 years old, but she's like 7 months old. She's 7 years going on 7 months.
She's wide open.
She'll steal something in the house. It could be a sock. It could be the casing from my glasses.
Yeah.
But she takes it from wherever she finds it in the house and goes to the same spot in the front room on the rug, looking out towards us, and she has this menacing look on her face, like, okay, come, game's on. And my wife and I have to basically surround her and then or bribe her with a treat. Then she gives up the whatever the toy is or whatever the thing is she has taken from us. So, but I mean this TikTok, it's just, I was driving through Jacksonville last week, and there was a torrential rainstorm that I couldn't see.
That was horrible.
I couldn't see the steering.
Yeah, that's the one in Oslo, right?
Yeah, I couldn't see the steering wheel in my car. I mean, it was that blinding. And I pulled off at the sheriff's office parking lot, and for 20 minutes, I just was going through different TikTok videos.
Wow,
so 30-second. Yeah. I haven't put anything up there, but very clever ones of horses. I love the horses and the dogs and the cats.
Well, I suspect eventually I'll use it the same way I use Instagram. I just use it to store pictures of my pets. It's pretty much what my Instagram is.
Yeah.
So I imagine this will end up being videos of my pets.
And I haven't searched for it. I'm sure it's out there, but I'm sure small businesses could.
Some have figured it out, and some haven't done so well. But some of them have figured out clever ways to do it.
I think the clock is ticking on TikTok.
Probably.
So depending on what Microsoft is talking about buying it, it's a Chinese company that owns it right now. And in China, every company that is in China is not privately owned per se. The government has the final say on it. But
although their headquarters in Hong Kong, that's where it gets a little
sticky.
blurry.
Yeah, sticky, because Hong Kong really is. I mean,
right. Technically, it's
China.
Yeah.
China thinks it's China.
China thinks it's China. Hong Kong doesn't necessarily.
Yeah, therein lies the rub. So let them figure it out.
Yeah.
But anyway, TikTok, it may not be around for, I think 45 days is the deadline for it. Right?
I'm pretty sure they'll come up with something on that. Microsoft would be a fool not to go and work.
I'll tell you what, Microsoft. I was hesitant on opening up any of my statements from my mutual funds.
Mm-hmm.
And I own Microsoft. I have that outright. And man, has that stock climbed over the past 5 months?
Really?
Yeah.
Wonder why? What have they done?
Well, I think it's all
lead up to this. Maybe
I think it's people working. Well, people working from home.
Zoom. They have a version. Yep.
And
Microsoft
365 or something. Microsoft Live or something. People are buying software.
It's like Microsoft. It's. I can't remember the name of it. It's not Zoom, but it's like that.
All the people that now have gone home to work from home,
right?
They had to upgrade their stuff, their software.
And actually, Microsoft's version of it is pretty good. I've used it. I played around with it, and it's pretty good. You can do a lot with it.
Yeah.
Their home office meeting, whatever you want to call it.
So I mean, I saw a sizable spike in that. And the other thing that was interesting was Capital One credit cards. I have Capital One, and it tanked. I mean,
really?
Yeah, it was like it went way down. And the ones that stayed,
I would have figured it would have.
I would have thought that would have gone up. Bank of America, I have that. That went down considerably.
Huh.
But the one that always maintains, you can.
I have no stock.
You could have a riot. You could have the best stock market, the worst stock market. Coca-Cola sits right at there, $45 a share, right around $45 a share. Kicks out a little dividend. But the other ones,
say they got a lot of my money.
I have Ford shares of Ford. That's in the in the slow lane.
Yeah.
And there's only one way but up for Ford. And who else do I have? I have Exxon. That's in the gutter.
Yeah.
Exxon, like oil. It's in the gutter. And
because oil's high right now.
Yeah, and I have Southwest Airlines.
Oh, jeez.
And PP&L, which is a utility company in Pennsylvania, and that's always done so well.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to just maintain, get Coke. People buy. Think about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. And they have that. They've actually seen their market share drop substantially with the health craze.
Yep.
But it's
they're going to go for the first time in I forget how many decades. They're going to go to. They're going to try to cash in on that White Claw type of hard seltzer.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have an alcoholic line of
really?
beverage. Yeah. Which is a big move for Coca-Cola.
I don't like those things.
They're the top seller in the grocery stores now. Look at the shelf space that the stores give them.
Really?
Yeah, White Claw.
Wow.
Demographically,
have you had it?
Women no. Yeah.
Is that like Zima?
I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. So
what that stuff is.
It was interesting too with the restaurants partially shut down and bars closed. Right, in a lot of states, the beer manufacturers, brewers, are having a tough time finding cans. Have you heard this? Have you heard about the can shortage? Yeah. So I'm a scrapper. So I'm going to find that story.
It's interesting.
It's not that there isn't enough aluminum on the market. It's the fact that the manufactured cans themselves. Because think about it, restaurants are partial; they're 50%. Bars are closed. So the brewers would normally put a lot of their product in kegs. Well, they're not doing that. So what are they doing? They're shifting their operations to retail on cans, and they're having to go overseas for the can that you're buying in Morehead City, perhaps at the Harris Teeter. That can might have come from Turkey.
Wow!
And
really?
You think about the cans, and then the whole can process. Think of the warehouses where they keep the cans. There's no way of consolidating them, and then at the time that you need them, you inflate them. The can is a can, and it takes up a lot of space. It's a lot of air. So they're having a tough time, and especially like the smaller, like Anheuser-Busch will get their cans, Miller will get their cans, but like Highland Brewery out in Nashville, they're a microbrewery. They're going to have a tough time finding aluminum cans.
I didn't even know there was a shortage of that.
Yeah, there's an aluminum shortage. So I'm thinking, and I say this because I hope that again, it's not the raw material, but I'm hoping that my recycler in Swansboro, where my scrapyard is, hears that and
I would imagine bottles are too, because I know I saw a story where North Carolina liquor sales were up like 12%.
Yeah, they are, and it could they could shift. You may see more of your favorite beer in of glass bottles or even plastic, but glass bottles than aluminum cans, just because they don't have enough cans.
That's fine by me. I always kind of like that anyway, but whatever.
They always said beer tastes better in a bottle, but they put those liners.
I'll be honest, I don't know that I could tell.
If you put a glass, we can't do it with beer, but we were going to do the Incredible Whopper. Remember that?
We need to do water too, because I don't believe people can tell the difference.
They can. We did
I know everybody says that.
At our business expo on Wassa, that's the water utility company in Onslow County, Onslow Water and Sewer. Jeff Hudson comes out, and he's a great showman. He's the CEO of Onwassa, and they do blind samples, and you can't tell.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah,
that's what. By the way, I saw this great thing on must have been Los Angeles, where they take like sewage water.
Yeah, no.
And they have this really complex deal and make it drinkable water. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I'd like to put that in a cup, and because think about it, going through a sewage treatment plant, which is what they're called, and they do all of that. It's not reverse osmosis, but they highly chlorinate it, filter it. It's cleaner than when the water first came in.
That's what they said.
That's what they said. You've lived in Washington D.C., and there was an area below National Airport called Blue Plains. And that was the sewage treatment plant for the district. And they had their time in the 70s and 80s where they were just pumping it back out into the Potomac. And all that nitrogen was creating all of that. Remember the growth in the river was that green, it was a green plant. And it choked out a lot of the aquatic life in the river. But they have since cleaned up, and they make that same claim that the water being discharged, the effluent being discharged out of Blue Plains is cleaner and more drinkable than the water that first came in the upper reaches of the Potomac.
I grew up drinking hose water.
I did too.
So, come on.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe that you can tell. The only places I could ever really tell is near the coast.
Yeah.
You can kind of taste it there. But
well, the water in Carteret County, when we lived on the beach in Emerald Isle for a year, was horrible. I mean, it was heavy. It was hard water. Even our dog, Monty, wouldn't drink it.
Really?
Yeah, so you had to filter it. And so a lot of the restaurants, if you go to the restaurants around here, they figured it out and filtered it. But, growing up in Pennsylvania, in eastern, all of Pennsylvania, they have natural springs.
Yeah, I was about to say,
and they come out onto the roadway. And you'd see people literally driving, and they have plastic milk jugs, basically, 5 gallon or 1 gallon, whatever.
Getting water
right out of the rock. And
wow.
the DOT, the Department of Transportation up there in Pennsylvania, would actually put a pipe into the mountain, so it's coming. It's 24/7. If they aren't bottling it, it's just going into the down into the river.
I will say I saw a guy on one of those National Degree of graphic type shows, and he took a cup up in the glacier and got a bunch of ice and then let it melt and drank it and said, and I'd always kind of wanted to try that to see if because that's completely untouched.
We had a conversation on Coastal Daybreak, and I forget who it was with. Was it a scientist or was it less? It might have been less. It might have been less still. That the water you drink today, that you consume today, however, was around billions of years ago. The molecules and water, because we're think about it. We're a closed loop here, the Earth. Aside from the only water that could possibly have left the system is if the astronauts took up onto the moon. But the Emperor Caesar would drink the water he drank. Conceivably, you could be drinking the same molecules that make up H2O. I think it was Jerry the Science Guy we talked about.
Huh. I never thought
of that. If the Earth is 4 billion years old, the water was here. Whatever form it was in. Whether it was in the ground,
I didn't ever think of that.
In the pond out there, or that glacier you speak of, the water is the water. We're closed. That's the way you say the question of, are there more stars in the sky than there are grains of sand on the beach? What's your answer to that?
Yes.
What?
More stars.
Why is
Maybe
that?
not the ones we can see.
Why is that?
Because it's infinite.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
Because it's infinite. And so sand on the beach, while there are countless grains of sand, it's finite. Earth is finite, and space is infinite.
By the way, this is kind of off topic, but have you ever heard?
We don't do that here. We stay on topic.
Yeah, we stay on topic. Have you ever heard of? I think it was Augustus, the Roman emperor, and he banished his daughter to this all stone island, but they went in and they had to get water from one side to the other. So they put underground aqueducts in,
which are still working today.
Yeah, and it's amazing. They brought a real survey laser thing in there, and it is on grade now. And
they're still using the aqueducts.
How do they do that?
How they build the pyramids? They still.
Well, that was a lot of slaves.
A
lot of slaves.
They probably used a few slaves. No, but they
like the Great Wall of China.
They're mathematicians and they're engineers.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and you go to.
But just to dig that out, because you got to do it so crudely, because you don't have a drill and all that.
No. You go to Florence, Italy, and the aqueduct there is still carrying water into the city of Florence. Yeah, from the Romans.
That's amazing.
The Romans were incredible engineers. Look how we did the Panama Canal. We had steam shovels.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. Yeah, it's completely different.
You had mechanized hardware.
It's like at an office we both worked at one time. They had this picture up that said something about teamwork.
Yeah,
but it was a picture of the Chinese Great Wall. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, the slaves built that, and
there were some slaves built there.
Buried there.
Yeah.
So much like that place.
It's interesting when they the C&O Canal, which goes from Cumberland, Maryland, down to Georgetown. It was in 1820 that they broke ground, and the story is the day they broke ground for the canal was the same day they started laying rail for the B&O Railroad, and the shovel on one of the persons turning the ground broke, and they said this is kind of like it was like a foreshadowing and symbolism of the canal was going to,
take them out of business.
Yeah, well, the railroad did take them out of business.
But a lot of people died doing this.
Hell yeah, it was. Yeah. Well, I mean, we were just standing out in the parking lot right now.
It was huge.
It's hot.
Yeah.
Imagine having to work out in that for 14, 18 hours a day.
Yeah, that's another one. See, we don't even really think about it, but we just went over there and said, okay, Panama, we're going to build through here now. Yeah, and we don't care what y'all got to say.
And the other thing they didn't think about was, so you have this.
Pretty ingenious
It's an isthmus, right? So you have Pacific Ocean on this side, water, a lot of water. Atlantic, more water, and different creatures in both oceans. And they all of a sudden just said, they just all of a sudden they dug that. I mean, you needed the canal, but they didn't care. They didn't care a whit about the environment because they went through lakes.
Oh yeah,
in Panama. It was so you had freshwater lakes, and all of a sudden they're salt water.
Yeah.
And you forget about the natural.
Probably
creatures.
Created some stuff in there.
Yeah, think about that. I mean, what was living in the Pacific, and now you wonder how like invasive species come to our area.
Right,
well, there's one little route it could have come through the canal.
Isn't there a place? I want to say it's on the our side of South America where the Pacific and Atlantic sort of meet, and the water is different. I saw a thing on it where they were diving in that area because it had such different.
It's got to be down there.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Somewhere like off maybe Venezuela somewhere.
No, because it's not. I mean,
there's
Central America.
Well, yeah, I know the Pacific's technically on that side, but somehow or another, the water's different, and because you can see it from the sky because they were flying over it before they dove into it, and it looked like one wave going this way and the other one going this way, and they kind of met in that area. I have to look that up.
Yeah,
but it was a great show.
It's kind of like up in. This is a nice segue up in Outer Banks where you have the Labrador coming down and the Gulf Stream, and that's the convergence of those two.
Is there a lot of sea life in that area? With the currents, I don't know that they would
mix it up.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's not a lot of swimmers because it's not the you can have warm,
I won't be trying.
You got the warm water down here, and then up in the Outer Banks it's colder because of the Labrador currents.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Up in I used to.
I'm sure the people here knew that already. Though.
Idiots. Not you.
Yeah.
Idiots. I would vacation in Ocean City, New Jersey, and the water was cold there. Most of it got up maybe into the 70s in the summertime.
Virginia Beach was cold. Ocean in Maryland was cold.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't hot.
Was that Ocean?
It was Ocean City and
Ocean City.
Yeah, but it was more clear. It was more clear than the Jersey Shore.
Virginia Beach wasn't clear.
No, see, you're still riding those Labrador currents.
Right. Okay.
And it isn't until you get to Hatteras where they go out and the Gulf Stream meets.
In Florida, once you get on the other side of the Keys, you can see where the water gets clear all of a sudden. It's kind of like you're out on a point.
Well, I'll tell you what. My first experience with waters here, we came down here in '94, and we were looking at the property which we now live on. But we had taken a boat. Someone took us on a boat down from Cedar Point down the Intercoastal Waterway, and we turned up Queens Creek. And after we did that, I mean, the water was brown in the tannins, right?
Right.
They took us over to like Bear Island, and as soon as we got across the Intercoastal Waterway, just on the other side, it was like a line was drawn, and it was just clear, just like you'd see in the Keys or the Caribbean. it was water and then the sandy bottom. Just gorgeous.
Wow.
Just gorgeous. But that's what sold us on this area. It's like, man, this is like the Caribbean. This is like Florida. So you can get some of those days. You can be on some of those high rises on Emerald Isle. That one, the hell's the name of it? It's a condo, and we would stay there on rental and look out over Emerald Isle water, and you can see the different shade, the hues, different turquoise on certain days. It's gorgeous. I mean, it looks like you would see down in Florida.
Right. I know the Gulf side was really clear.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's clear as gin.
Clearer than the Pacific when I was in California.
Oh, yeah. Pacific and that's cold too. You can't go in that water.
Yeah, yes and no.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
Southern
not
California
like
not too
it's
bad.
It's not 80. Today it's 83 degrees.
The southern part wasn't too bad, at least as I remember. But I was a kid, younger, so.
Yeah, we only know the thing about San Diego is pretty. The thing is, the problem is you got Tijuana just south of there, and you got 1 million or so people. You talk about blue plains in D.C. They're still straight piping it out there.
Yeah,
and the currents go down towards the United States. So you go into the water there. Ain't the most, but San Diego's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. We said that before. One of the best cities most beautiful cities I've been to.
I don't know how we crisscrossed the United States in 15
back.
minutes here. And we opened up the show with music from TikTok. I was actually we were looking at birthdays today, and there's a TikTok star who turned 17.
How do you get to be a TikTok star?
Elisa Minor.
How does that even happen?
All she does is just dance, and she's in the videos that Richard and I saw.
I wonder if they get paid for that.
If she's on the Associated Press birthday as a TikTok star, she's getting some. She got, what did I say? How many followers?
Well, now I told you before,
more than 1 million followers.
Yeah.
Right? So we did some quick study on some of her TikTok videos, and we come to the conclusion that one, she comes from a wealthy family because of the background. She's in these nicely appointed outdoor areas like pools, and sitting on lounge chairs that aren't the ones you buy at Walmart that break as soon as you sit on them on the beach, made of aluminum. These are nice cast aluminum, but she's wearing a lot of different outfits. We noticed.
Yeah, so
we think she's an influencer.
Probably paying her.
Yeah.
Well, it's completely different now. I told you before. One of the sports guys, Colin Cowherd, talking head, he gets paid more for his podcast and YouTube stuff than he does he's with like Fox Sports.
Yeah.
And he makes more on the other side than with Fox Sports.
Yeah.
I mean, what's that tell you where we're at now? It's completely different now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I heard a commentator this morning talking about the eventual demise of newspapers, and this person disagreed with that statement, saying that the New York Times and Wall Street Journal, they'll be around longer. For it's the local community newspapers that are owned by these corporations. They're the ones that are going to die.
I would agree with that.
And they said radio too, to an extent, is going to shift, and it's more towards the podcast, because that's really what we're doing now right here is really no different,
because people want to listen to it when they want to listen to it.
It's really no different than what Coastal Daybreak is. Except you get it over the airwaves.
But if somebody wants to listen to it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon,
now, as far as Coastal Daybreak goes, they can, because we're on Facebook. But you can go back and see it that way. But as far as live radio versus podcast, I mean, and it's funny too, because podcast, that's an Apple name. You know, when the Apple iPod came out, they just kind of it's Band-Aid, Xerox.
It's
Bud.
Grown substantially, and Spotify is one of about 3 or 4 that offer excellent platforms for it. Yeah. You can search your likes. It tells you what's popular. So it's really, really taken off. And I think anybody that has a business, you'll be ahead of the game if you get involved in that.
Yeah.
If you start advertising there, that's all I can tell you.
I think you're right about that.
Because it's going to replace, because you're getting ready to see a big jump in cable and TV and all that. That's been festering for probably 2 years now. And I think the pandemic's going to change it some. We were talking about Disney releasing that movie. Mulan. Netflix is doing the same, although they don't charge anything extra for it.
Not yet.
Not yet. That's probably in their model, honestly. Probably.
Yeah, they're thinking about it.
Oh, yeah. They just want to see how these go, probably.
That's right. Let them be the guinea pigs.
Disney started with, we're going to get all the money we can first and go down if we have to. They started with, we're going to give it to them and then go up.
Yeah.
So,
And Disney's got, 60 million subscribers?
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. It took Netflix 9 years to reach that number.
Yeah, but they broke ground.
Yeah, sure. They were the pioneers.
And Disney does have that kids stuff that kind of never goes away.
Yeah.
It's like a different group every 5 years.
It's true. I'm glad I own Disney stock too.
Really?
That's seen a rise.
I bet it has. Well, and they bought ABC and ESPN.
Yeah.
Make no mistake.
That was baked in.
ESPN is making money. That's the evil empire, incarnate right there.
Glad for it. Got to get our theme parks back.
Hey, look, I need ESPN. What are you talking about?
I need the theme parks open. I need that revenue.
Anyway.
My share. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you guys have a nice day.
All right.